Hi, friends. I'm alone in a rehearsal studio rehearsing Saints Preserve Us for our first reading next Monday, and I'm bored. So I'm going to read part of it to you. This is a sneak preview. No one's heard this. Here's a sneak preview from a section of Saints Preserve Us about the trip I took to Italy 20 years ago to see incorruptible saints' bodies. Incorrupt meaning they haven't decomposed, but are centuries old and on display and intact. Grisly mummies in caskets. Okay, so we just arrived in Firenze. So here we go. Okay. It seems like you can't go anywhere without passing the Duomo, and once we do a couple of times, we find our way to the Basilica San Marco to view St. Antonius. Antonius was born in 1389 and died a holy death. They all died a holy death, by the way, but I still don't know what that means, at 70 years old. That was 544 years before our visit. I can't wait to get a look at him. During his time as a Dominican prior in Rome, he had the incorrupt remains of St. Catherine of Siena, not Bologna, there are several Catherines, moved to a much admired golden sarcophagus. Now, when I say remains, I should be clear. Before this new accommodation, some relics had been taken from her body. An arm was given to an order in Siena. 3 fingers were given to one in Venice. And there was something else. What was it? Oh, yes! Her head had been separated from her body, put in a glass reliquary, and carried with great ceremony and pomp to a church in Siena. It's still on display there, right in front of the altar, facing right at you. I saw it myself on my last trip, and it is... okay. It looks like someone made a nun's head out of gray Play-Doh and put it in a fancy box. I saw what I saw. That sarcophagus has since been pawed through more than a box of Russell Stovers. Bits of her were sent all over the place, including a finger upon which she said God had placed a bejeweled wedding band that only she could see. Plus, if you press your ear to that golden sarcophagus in Rome, you can still hear Catherine softly singing, "All of me, wanna take all of me," which is extra miraculous, seeing as her head is in a box in Siena. But we were talking about St. Antonius, who once humbly declined the position of Archbishop of Firenze, leading the Pope to say, "You taking the job, or I excommunicate your ass." He was called the father of the poor, especially after he went full Marie Kondo on his palace. He gave away all of his riches to live a more austere life. This allowed him to greatly reduce his household staff, giving more money to the poor, many of whom had been his household staff until quite recently. Then the usual, he dies, stays flexible and fragrant for a long time, eventually ends up an incorruptible on display. And what a display! Il Basilica San Marco is incredible. His gold casket lies under a side altar, kind of like he's in an aquarium. So how does he look? Well, for 544 years, he is completely intact. Yes, his face looks like a chalk-colored mummy with empty eye sockets, and he has no lips to speak of. But I'll tell you this, he's got a nose on him. In profile, it looks kind of like a shark fin. And the robes, here's what I'll say. If Liberace had played the Pope, so 2 saints down, and it's time for more pasta and vino before we head back to our lodgings. All right, what'd you think of that? Now, who wants to take a trip to New York City to see this next Monday night? That is Saints Preserve Us, friends, next Monday night. Scan that code right there. Please, for the love of God, come see me. Blessings.